on the air, live, not so live.
Pre-recorded, yeah.
But live.
Right now.
During the recording.
During the recording, we're live.
Released after.
Do you know anything about recording at shows? What those guys go through?
Good question.
I have no idea.
I just remember all the, like on Etree. You remember Etree?
Yeah, of course. I never could figure it out.
Oh, I was big into Etree.
It was hard for me to download those giant files and then convert them into a WMV.
Well, they were Flac, so they came in as
Flac. Who knows how to Flac it?
They were lossless compressed audio. You can actually still download from Livefish in Flac, which is, I don't know, but it's just a holdover from like,
that's
guys
like if you're like putting together like the Seed archive in Norway, right? Like you need to have like all the fish shows downloaded on a hard drive just in case the world ends and you still need to listen to them.
Like compressed in Flac because like hard drive space is so expensive, but fully lossless. But yeah, they were all in Flac, and I just remember what they did is they would tell you what the stack was, like the tech stack, right? Like what the mic was, and then like when it went, like what the DAC was, and all that stuff.
The whole chain.
Like the chain would be like 4 or 5 things, this into this, like a thing and this and that.
That's all like listed on all the versions on Relisted, right? Like when you look at the different shows, you see like who the taper was and like his whole chain of equipment stack. And like how it was converted into these incredible files on Relisten.
But I do remember there was preferences, some people preferred certain setups over others, so you'd like wait for that to, I don't know, I mean, you're going back in time a long time. This is 20 years ago.
I just remember being like desperate on just like getting anything, and like the bar was not very high all the time. Like when you got a tape or like your buddy got a tape, like half the tapes that I heard, the sound quality was horrible. I mean, comparatively speaking to what we listen to today.
Oh, of course. I mean, there's a real nostalgia for those old tapes, which I think, obviously I think we've
touched on that over the last little while,
being nostalgic for the tapes. But yeah, I mean, there were terrible audience recordings from so far away. It's all this crowd noise. You could hear people talking and saying stuff. I mean, they were bad, but there was a nostalgia. I mean, that was like how we accessed their music. So it was so good.
It's part of the spice. Yeah, like it just like spice. Made like it more of a struggle. Like finally you get this tape, and then like, can you really hear it? Like, can you hear Mike at all?
Yeah, like whereas now, at MSG New Year's Eve, Mike was down, right? And people were on Twitter going, "Hey, Mike's down in the mix," and it didn't make it into the live webcast, but they remixed it on Livefish and brought Mike back up. And then one of the Mexico shows, like from the first day, Trey drifts slightly left in the mix. That's like in sand, in the middle of sand.
Oh, right? That just really put my panties in a bunch when I heard that.
But he's stuck there the whole time. The rest of or he was too far right and he drifted right back to where he was supposed to be. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying you can hear it, right?
And that has nothing to do with him, right?
Oh, no.
That has to do with like the mix.
The mix.
But like
the mix.
I'm zero knowledge about like, and I don't know what you know, but like zero knowledge. Like all of a sudden he's like drifting to the left or the right. Is that because like some dude is sitting there in front of a board and he's like, I'm just going to turn this little knob here a little bit, try and fix whatever's not broken. Like DJs have like all these buttons and dials and things, and like they're like adjusting little things. Like, is that actually changing anything, or is it just like part of the show? And like this guy's not even on a show. He's sitting in like a truck on a 6th, like underground, like listening to it, and he's like, I got to turn this dial right here to make this better. But in fact, he fucked it all up.
I think he has, 2 Techniques 1200s spinning in front of him, and he's just, making big moves. I think I don't know. I can't speculate about why it moved. But yeah, I assume there's a knob involved. Some sort of knob or some
Right.
sort of
The
slider.
the
that
guy
moved
touched a knob.
A smidge.
It wasn't just like
A smidge.
it wasn't a technical error. It was human error.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do. I think what's happening live at the show is a whole other ball of wax. I think there's someone that then takes what's happening at the show and they, because to go out on the web stream and then to turn that into what's going up live on Live Fish and all that stuff. I mean, that's a whole other stack,
sure,
right?
that's
So they take it
working.
in and then they got to like mess with it. And what they need to do to make that sound good is completely different than what they need to do for the sound in the venue, right? So, I'm not saying that
There's
trade drifting happened live per se, right? But it did happen on the mix.
It happened on the mix that they posted. To Live Fish later.
Right, but I don't think it bears. I don't know where it happens, but
Well,
I'm
these
gonna
guys
guess
were-
it bears no bearing on what happened live at the show.
Did it have bearing on what was live streamed?
That's entirely possible because the live stream on New Year's mic was very low and people were complaining about it.
Right.
And it didn't really get resolved until after the shows were over, the whole run was over, and then they announced that they fixed the mix and put up on, Live Fish the new mix. So everyone couch touring had a low mic, and everyone listening to the show now today, high mic.
Right.
Turned
Now,
up- they
I'm
turned
just
them up.
curious if anybody had noticed trade drifting during the live broadcast, or if that didn't happen until the live show was remixed and posted.
I don't know.
With Mike at the proper level.
I don't know. I think we'd have to go back and check the tapes.
I mean, it would just be so like I spend a lot of my time when I'm at a live show, Fish, and I guess it's based on what song they're playing, where I like really try to hone in on each instrument. And
I thought you were going to say you were shaking your head from left to right to get the music in different ears.
well, that you can do too. The hearing in my right ear is way worse than the hearing in my left ear.
So you tilt.
Just like, yeah, I definitely tilt looking depending on where I am, but
Which ear is it that's your good ear?
my left. Like I aim my left ear at the stage a lot.
Then why don't you're never on page side. Shouldn't you be page side and then like craning your neck to mic to
I've
get
been on page
sound?
side many times.
No, you're
Sometimes I don't have a choice.
80% of the time you're mic side.
No, maybe
And that's
like
your bad-
maybe like more recently, but like in my life I've spent a lot of time on Paige's side.
Okay.
And usually like I try to get more like it really doesn't make that much of a difference if you're in a relatively decent spot because everybody is kind of on Mike's side or both sides. Everybody's kind of turned like 45 degrees at least. They're not facing forward into the middle. They're turned.
Right, but
And like I still have a very good
I'm just worried about that left
line
ear.
to the left ear if I'm
Got
in the stands, let's say at MSG in section 108
Right.
or 107,
Sure.
right, which is like good spot, Mike's side. You're like maybe one or two sections from the stage. There's a good enough angle that you can be facing the stage and I can still get a lot in my left ear. If I'm on the floor though, I'm like looking at Mike the whole time. Just like trying to get that left ear a little bit more of an angle.
Left ear.
But at the same time, like I can hear. It's not that bad. My hearing out of my right is not that bad.
I'm trying to think. Like I'm thinking here. And it's like we're almost always mic side. I don't mean like far mic side, but I mean even if we're by the lighting rig, okay, even if we're by the booth,
Like Chris?
Yeah, even if we're by Chris, it's like we're like on that side of Chris. Although I can think of a few instances. Mexico, 2016,
sure.
we were lighting rig left.
New Year's 2002.
New Year's
We're on
2002.
page side.
Barely though.
I was.
Center page side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm also thinking when we did Hampton, we were we were page side in the stands, weren't we?
Hampton 03?
Yeah, like right after that.
We were page side in the stands. I
Page side in
remember
the
like
stands, yeah,
I remember when we got in there, it was just like a shit show. And we were able to secure like some sector on the stands, but it was back corner, wasn't it? Like it wasn't, weren't we like kind of far back?
Yeah, I think we were kind of in the middle rung of whatever was going on in the stands.
Yeah.
I have a vague,
But closer to the back as opposed to the stage.
maybe.
I mean,
That's like the 3 times I can think that we've been at a page side in 20 years.
see, you know the Fluffhead video from Hampton in 09?
Right. Yeah.
Right? That's like from Mike's side.
That's Mike's side.
I can't remember if I was on Mike's side that night or if I've just watched that video so many times that like my brain has tricked itself into thinking that like that's where I sat for that night.
I know
But I'm pretty sure I did. I was on the floor one night for sure because I remember looking up and seeing all those balls on the ceiling. But I think the first night I was in the stands, right where that, like right next to that guy.
Well, I wasn't even there in real life, but like, I feel like I was, I feel like I saw that Fluffhead from right there.
It's crazy how every single time I've ever watched that video, I get goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
It's crazy.
Tingles. It's insane. People were just posting it like, well,
yeah, because it was just the anniversary of it a few days ago.
Wild.
A week ago.
It's just insane because you know what that drought was like, and you just know the joy, just the, you know.
And they also hadn't played Fluffhead in a long time. Like even before the breakup, they hadn't played Fluffhead for I don't know how many, but I think a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
What a way to start.
Yeah. And then they've been opening shows with Fluffhead recently. Didn't they open MSG with Fluffhead? No. Didn't they?
I don't know.
I'm going to find out. But they did open... Yeah, they opened...
They opened Chula.
With Fluffhead?
Yes. That was sick. Chula into NICU, because it was the NICU center, remember?
So they did open the 29th at MSG with Fluffhead. And they also opened, yes, Chula, 10/23/21 with Fluffhead. They've opened with Fluffhead a few times. Yep, it's true.
They've really been mixing up the openers and the closers. I love it.
I agree. I mean, they got to keep it interesting somehow, some way, right? They do it many ways. They do.
I know but I just feel like, and maybe there's just, it's too scrambled to even make sense of. But sometimes I'm watching a show now, or like just even following along on Fish from the Road, and it's like, hey, they're playing that song as the second song. Like that's a second set song, you know. And my mind has them in blocks and places.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've been mixing it up so long, I don't even know if it's true anymore. But it feels like they've been playing with it since 4.0. It seems like they've been playing with placement a little bit more.
Well, it feels like a song like Ghost has like made way more first set appearances than I thought it would, or felt it should, or could.
Yeah.
Because like Ghost to me is like a second set jam vehicle, at least in like 3.0.
Or like ending the first set, maybe.
Yeah. But now it's like getting in the first set a lot.
Yeah. No, I know.
So they hadn't played Fluffhead since September 29th, 2000. 70 show gap before Hampton in 09.
I mean,
it's a good gap.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That was only my fourth. No, that's not true. My sixth Fluffhead of my life.
Sixth Fluffhead.
Yeah. It was a good one.
I mean, but going back to your observation that it just, you can't watch that video without feeling the whole thing.
The whole
it's
thing.
Crazy.
Yeah. It was a special time. It really was. It was like almost like I got a similar feeling when they announced that they were playing at the Hollywood Bowl 3 nights this year.
Same feeling.
Similar. I said similar. Like sometimes when you hear something about Phish, like when I heard that they were coming back, it was just like beyond exciting. Like
Relief.
I just like had at that point had given up on ever hearing them again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it had been 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, in whenever they announced their spring tour, I had completely given up on them ever playing the Hollywood Bowl ever again, because whenever they come to LA, they always play at the Forum, which is good.
Yeah.
But like, why come to the sunshine, beautiful Southern California
Yeah.
and play indoors? It's been a pet peeve of mine ever since 2014.
I agree. You know, the floor at the Forum is fun for some reason. I don't know why.
The Forum is an incredible venue. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing shows there. Mm-hmm. It's a pain in the ass to get to, but whatever. Once you're there, it's great. Like the entire place is a bar for those of us who drink. I don't drink that much, but like you never have to wait in line for a drink because the entire circumference of the venue is a bar. And I've been at crazy sold out shows and I've never waited more than 3 minutes for a drink if I needed one, which is great. It's very well designed. It used to be, you know, where the Kings and the Lakers played, and then they just turned it into a pure music venue. The sound is great there. There's no bad seat in that house. The floor is easily accessible. You're never waiting in line to get really anything at that venue.
It's all those doors around the, like you can get out to the, you can get in and out of the floor through all those doors, which I really like. Whereas some floors, it's like confusing to get. You know, there's like one snake alley down
and
to
you're
the
going
floor,
like
and it's like a choke
down
point
to the belly of the earth.
Exactly. That one, you're just like, there's a door right next to you. Boom, outside.
Yeah,
boom,
I mean, if
inside.
they were planning on coming like anytime between December and February, great. Play at the Forum. Off chance it might rain. You know, but like any other time of year, if you're coming to LA, how could you not play the Hollywood Bowl? It's like
2012 was the last time they played, right? Was it 2012?
I think so.
Yeah, I remember.
Or 2011.
Maybe 2011 actually.
2010 and 2011 they played there,
you're right.
and then they didn't come here again for a couple years.
It was all Forum then from then on.
And it's been Forum since then.
I know. The Hollywood Bowl is so much better than the Forum. Like it's, I agree. When I saw 3 nights, I mean, it's like, it's everything I need and everything I want in the place I want it. And I get to sleep at home.
Sure. That's definitely a bonus for sure.
Because I'm too old to sleep not at home, you know?
Yeah.
Like
it's on a lazy boy in the lobby of a Holiday Inn.
Crooked sideways, like folded in half somewhere. I can't do that anymore.
No.
But 3 nights at the Hollywood Bowl, I can't wait.
And 3 nights at the Greek. Not that I'm going to those, but hopefully I can make it to 1. What do you think? Should I go? At least 1 night?
Why go all the way for 1? Ask yourself that.
Because it's so easy to go there for 1. You know?
It's so easy to stay for 3.
It's true, but I couldn't do 6 shows in like 8 nights. Not in this day and age. Just can't do it.
Yeah, it's going to be real nice. It's going to be real nice. I wonder...
They're just going back to their roots of, you know, early 3.0 days when they played the Greek and did not play very well. And then they came to the Hollywood Bowl and didn't really shine either. But
I don't recall any blowouts. 2010, 2011. I'm not... I'm not recalling any highlights.
I mean, if we want to get really particular, the last show that they played at the Forum in October of 21.
Oh, I'm talking about just the Hollywood.
I know, but the last show that they played at the Forum in October of 21 was the only show that I've thought to myself that was a giver. That one went.
That was the best show I've ever seen.
Ever?
in this city.
In this city. Okay. Fair enough. Me too.
In this city.
Me
is
too.
the important qualifier.
Me too.
That show, I'm pulling up the set list. It just like, I don't know I don't know how it listens back.
It listens back real nice. I've listened to it once or twice.
Really that second set. It was the first set was great. I remember feeling really great about it. And I remember Cars, Trucks, and Buses starting, and I had to race out I had to race down and hit the floor. I was still
tied up,
recreating, having some downtime.
And you love a good Cars, Trucks, Buses.
I'm a Page kind of guy. I love a Cars, Trucks, Buses. I like some of those noises. But, if I had to miss the first 45 seconds of a song, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with missing.
No, but I remember the Yem in the first set.
But,
really set the tone early.
Second song.
Yeah.
I mean, harkening back to what songs are ending up where. How do you have a Yem as song number? A Wave of Hope? Okay. Yem? Excuse me? I didn't see it coming.
No.
But man, that Cars, Trucks, Buses, that Tweezer LA Woman, that Tweezer LA Woman was, that's what solidified it for me. That, Cars, Trucks, and Buses, yippee, second set starting, like, okay, great, like, let's do it. And then Tweezer.
Do you think?
And then LA Woman, and I just, like, that's when my mind exploded in that section right there. And the rest of that set was awesome. And it was a Tweezer fest.
It was Tweezy. It was a Tweezy fest.
Was it a fest or was it
I don't
just
know if
Tweezy?
it was a full fest. It was a Tweezy zone.
Tweezy zone. We got Tweez Squeeze. We got
Tweez
Squeezed.
Tweezoned.
It's a double tweeze and a reprise.
Do you think that one of like the Fish is an incredible band. They jam, they play, they have a huge catalog. But do you think that like the asterisks that they do at certain shows where they do something like LA Woman or they pull out some random cover they've never played before, how big of a draw for you is the opportunity to potentially see something like that happen when Fish plays?
So going into it, no draw.
No expectation of anything extracurricular.
I'm not waiting for the Hollywood Bowl shows going, I can't wait to hear them cover X.
No, you don't know what they're going to cover. It's just like the possibility of
doesn't
them,
even enter my mind.
Who knows what's going to come out of their ass?
I really don't think that's not where the surprise and delight comes from for me. But when they play it, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Yeah, I don't think about it. I'm not thinking about, oh man, I can't wait for the Hollywood Bowl. Like I've thought about like, some songs I want to hear. And like, I just hope they play this. I hope they play that, whatever. But I've never been like, oh, and I hope there's some sick covers that I haven't played before. It hasn't crossed my mind one time.
But like, you just don't know what they're going to do. Like to me, like they've played incredible shows with incredible jams, that I love, that I listen back to. And then there have been nights where they do something weird and funny or different. And it's not necessarily always a musical thing. I mean, they do it less and less now, but like, it's just part of their repertoire that like every once in a while they're going to do something not gaggy, but silly or unexpected,
Yeah.
Where they're going to play something that's like, has some reference or no reference whatsoever to like the place they are or somebody's who's there,
Like that Susie from New Year's.
Sure.
Or whatever.
Just like, but like, there's just like so many, whenever they say something, it's almost like makes it, the reaction of the crowd is very culty. Like Trey has never said anything bad in the mic.
Everyone's like, wah.
I know. And half the time you don't even understand what he's saying.
No, you have to listen back later.
Right?
But you're still cheering.
But what I'm saying is like they set the bar for me very high early on in the late 90s when I started to see them, especially in summer of 98 when they were throwing out so many different covers every night kind of like maybe teasing getting people stoked for Halloween that year, right? Like I remember the build up to Halloween in 98 was just like catastrophic. Like tickets were insane. It was just like so not overhyped, but
Well,
very
was there a
hyped.
fever pitch just because 97, 98 was sick, you mean? Or like,
No, just because like Halloween had become,
yeah, a thing.
you know, it was the thing, you know, starting in 94 when they did the White Album, and it was just like, holy shit, what are, like that element of the surprise is what I'm talking about. Like what they built up over Halloween every year, us not knowing what they were going to play until we walked in the door, which was even cooler. Like you walk in the door, you get the playbill and you know what they're going to play, which is kind of cool. And they messed with that a few times, you know. I just think that like for me, I love going to see them. And the shows with the incredible jams are the ones I listen back to, but the ones that they've done like something crazy like play Sabotage, you know, are the ones that I know that I've had the best live experience.
I sympathize with what you're saying because this LA Woman, like if you were to put the LA Woman on, that's what
Yeah.
I was saying when I don't know how it listens back, right? Because
Right.
if you put LA Woman on, it's like, okay, like they're playing LA Woman. Is it the best LA Woman that's ever been played on the no.
On that stage, no.
Right, exactly. But out of that tweezer, it just like came out, you know, they just went right into it and it just like hyped. It just changed, just took the energy to a whole new place. And so I am
Right.
agreeing with what you're saying is
That's
that like,
that's what I'm saying.
in and
is-
of itself, is that the piece of music that like you're gonna go listen back to? No, but was that a moment in time that killed it? Yes, that's why I love this show. When they started playing LA
That's what
Woman
I'm
out
saying.
Tweezer, it just like changed the whole show for me. I was like, this is the best show I've seen in LA.
I know, and if they hadn't done that LA Woman and they just went into Say It To Me Santos, and then What's the Use, and then back into Tweezer, or however, you know, it wouldn't have had that like cherry.
Right. I
Right?
agree. No, that's what did it. I was like, okay, they just took, you know, they just took out all the stops. Like
yes.
this is a party right now.
Like there are very special shows that like we all know that have incredible jams, you know, that have lived on in infamy because of the jam. But I bet you that there are more shows out there that people remember based on like the ridiculous out of left field stuff that they've done that night.
Right. You're reminding me of when I was listening to Under the,
Scales?
is that what it's called?
I believe so.
And I think it was Brad that was on, and he was talking about riding the worm. You know that like what they're playing Amsterdam or something, the back of the worm or whatever it is, and,
Yeah.
like trying to piece like context around it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Trey just
No.
starts yelling. This joke happened. It was like we're riding the worm or something. I think it was maybe related to like some sort of party situation, you know, like riding the back of the
Okay.
worm, like a wild ride. Okay.
Okay.
And they bring that into like a jam and they just start yelling like back of the worm, you know, you can imagine, right? It means nothing. It doesn't even mean anything. It's not a song. It's not harmonic.
But there's, like,
just
some
like
dude out
someone
there-
yelling back of the worm. And like, there's someone that's like, that was such a fun show.
And like
because
he's got a
back of the
tattoo
worm
of it. Like, he's got like back of the worm tattooed
back of the
across
worm
his belly.
made, you know, the energy in the back of the worm just changed, you know.
It's just- and just taking on a whole life of its own.
I wasn't there, but I have re-listened to the shows. I think they're on that Amsterdam album, but like, or maybe it was, I don't know, but nonetheless, it was, you know, that Europe tour, but it just reminded me of that. It's like those special moments. Like no one's replaying that. Like that's not the part you listen to musically, but everyone there was probably like, this is the best party I've been to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they've got a
Interesting.
pretty good formula,
Yeah.
you know, where like you might get just like a cookie cutter evening with like a couple sweet little jams that they go into.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a night where they play a 4-song second set.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might get a night where they bust something out that they haven't played in 200 shows.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might get a combination of these things. You might get, you know, like a brand new cover. You might get like Fishman singing a song and playing his vacuum, which I don't remember the last time he did that.
Yeah.
It's not very often that he does that.
Yeah, I was just
Anymore.
listening in the car to something and then, hold your head up and vacuum. And
I mean, not
was
that I
just
miss it
laughing.
that much, but like I remember
It's entertaining.
it's so entertaining.
Exactly.
Like I remember in like 99 in Philly, they did Cracklin' Rose. And he had like his giant cymbals that he was like carrying around that said like Cracklin' Rose written on them, and he was just like running around the stage banging them, and it was just like one of the funniest things I'd seen anybody do on stage. Like, why is that guy up there doing that shit?
Yeah.
But it was a next level entertainment value.
They're entertainers through and through. I agree. Cool.
Yeah. They really know how to suck you in if you're susceptible to that kind of good time.
Susceptible to a good time. Warning.
That kind of good time.
Warning. Susceptible to a good time.
Did you see that music video that Mike released?
I saw some of it.
Yeah.
Did you watch? Did you make it through the whole thing?
Well, I watched through the whole thing because like I have 3 minutes, I guess, to dedicate to that. Like, what else am I doing? I guess sitting like it was early in the morning when I got notified that Mike was dropping
an album,
Essence of Genius.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed this before. I love seeing Mike solo.
Mm-hmm. I have said that.
I think that like just his vibe is like deep and kind of dark and like weird, as opposed to like when you go see Trey, where it's like very light and uppity and like exciting and like harmonized. And Mike is like making all kinds of weird noises.
Yeah.
And like playing with different things and like weird lights and just everything is just like, I envision him thinking like, this is what I'd be doing every night if I was in charge.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Mike. I think he's the one person I haven't seen do their own thing.
Really? Yeah, you've seen Pork Tornado.
Definitely. And a couple of jazz mandolin and like some random situations.
Yeah.
Like Hot Vita Blue.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if I ever see him, like, did I ever see him sit in like with Bela or like, no. I'm trying to think like, what did he do that with like MMW?
But that's not the same. Even if you had, that's not the same.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him do his thing.
Well, he is doing a couple dates in June, but none on the West Coast.
Yeah, none locally.
It's too bad.
I wonder if he made that album
despite Trey and Paige making an album without him.
No, that's not what I meant. I seem to recall that he was maybe making a studio or something. I just didn't know if he did it on his own or did he go somewhere. I wonder.
I wonder,
if it was like a
because
homespun.
he was like posting on his social about like the house that he was building in Vermont that had like that crazy studio. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Style studio, like overlooking the lake.
Right. It's exactly what I just don't know if that's is he moved in making music or did he have to like dip into a studio to like lay down some heavy tones
last
summer.
Yeah, that he was posting like the construction videos. I mean, hopefully it's been done and he made it in there
before winter
or during winter.
Right.
He got it done and hunkered down in his bunker studio.
Yeah.
And made this album.
Made some tracks. I mean, I love Gordon's noises. Like he just like makes the darkest, rumbliest. Sometimes you even think it's Paige. You're like, that's a keyboard? And you're like, no, it's Gordon. And we were talking the other day, and we were listening to a show, and I said, do you remember when Mike invented this in '98? and you were like, this show's from 98. And I said, booyaka.
Yeah.
But when I mean, it's not really a noise, but when he would slap the
then
bass and slide his
yeah.
hand out like, boo. And they would do it meat stick. They would do it like, but it was like, for some reason, it's like stuck in my head as like 98 Mike. And I love his creativity.
Me too.
On the bass.
Me too.
Rumbly, dark, and like some of those classic bass bomb moments. I mean, they're in sort of maybe some shows, but some are just like the rumbliest. He just makes tones that shake your feelings at sometimes.
You know, when you said that you're sometimes not sure if it's Mike or Paige making certain noises, have you noticed now that, like, I'm not sure sometimes now that whether it's Trey or Paige, because like Trey has like some new, not super new, maybe like the last year or so, where he can now like make his guitar sound just like Paige on kind of like an organ. You know, and there have been many times where I'm like, ooh, Paige, yeah, you're doing it, but it's actually Trey.
Yeah,
I was listening to something earlier yesterday where he was doing it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he does it every night now. You know, it's just like Trey has a pedal that he can turn on. That
he has
sounds,
a Paige pedal.
He has a Paige pedal. Yeah. I wonder how Paige feels about that. I'm sure just fine.
They're all
It's
on
good
top
feeling.
of each other these days, you know? Like, they all have expanded their rigs so much and expanded their ability to do things. I mean, even, Fishman's got his whole, like, it's taken on different iterations, but he's got his, like, sound, board. And then, like, but Paige will play Chillin' Thrillin'. He's got his soundboard. Like, whose soundboard are we listening to right now?
They've all got samples available.
Exactly. So they're, they, like, if you think about where they started, and it's like, here's a guy with one keyboard, and then like now he added a piano and now this, and then you watch him do that rig tour that he did on social, like maybe, I don't remember when it was, but in the last couple of months he did a 20-minute rig tour. It was sick, and he's just like, here's my 99 pianos and I can play them all from like just by hitting these switches, and like, this is the sound I use for this. I mean, I loved it. But then you're right, like, Trey's in there. Like, he's not just on that like boomerang loop, like the old days. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. Mike, nasty noises, and even Fishman's hooked up with some samples. They're just like
keeping it interesting.
It's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. But to answer your question, I don't think anyone's butthurt about it.
No, I don't think so. All right,
let's wrap it.
Wrap it up, baby.